Ever wondered what it's like to drive from the US to Canada through stunning mountain scenery and a Hollywood movie town? I took the scenic route from Seattle to Kelowna and ended up in Hope, where Rambo First Blood was filmed. So keep watching to see where we went and where we wouldn't have missed out on this trip. Welcome to Travel with Zan. At the end of my recent Transpacific cruise, we found ourselves in Seattle with a hire car. After what was meant to be a quick trip to the Museum of Flight that ended up being a very long day and an impromptu stay at the Coachman Inn in Bellingham, before heading over the border to Canada. I'll be putting up a video on the Museum of Flight. It was an absolutely amazing museum, especially if you're interested in space or historic aeroplanes. There was even a real Soyuz capsule. That really got to me. Totally, I was so excited about that. So subscribe to see my new content first, and you'll get to see that video as well as all the others from my trip. So we arrived at the Canadian border with no real plans, which is probably not the best idea. We were questioned quite a bit because we didn't really know where we were going, but in the end the woman was very nice and we headed on up to Kelowna. So this is near the mountains and has amazing views of the lake. We stayed at the Lake and Bridge View vacation home, so it was sort of an Air B&B. We got it off booking.com, but it was in like downstairs in someone's house, but there was a separate entrance and there was a garden and the most amazing views across the lake. So I highly recommend that. We went into town for the evening. We had great pizza and yeah, just walked around the town. It was really pretty, really nice intro to Canada. We were really just there for sort of, less than a day, so we just checked it out. If you are there for longer, there are some cruises that you can do on Saturdays and parasailing and other kind of things. It's also right near the mountains. It's a good place to stay for skiing. A lot of people stay around there to go to the ski slopes. But it was really pretty. It was very small, but it did have quite a reasonable high street with, restaurants and shops and stuff like that. So the next morning, we hit the road again and we were heading back to Vancouver. So I will do a video on what we got up to in Vancouver, so another one to subscribe to see that one when it comes out. So as we're driving along, we were looking at somewhere to stop for lunch and wasn't really sure where to stop, and I did some Googling as we're driving along. I wasn't driving. And came across Hope. It didn't actually mention the whole Rambo thing. It just said that there was lots of statues through the town, and I thought, oh, that could be an interesting place. So off we went from there, and we parked up, and the first thing we saw was the Rambo Lane sign. And my husband really liked the First Blood movie when he was younger, so he immediately went, oh my god, is this where First Blood was filmed? That's so cool. So we wandered around looking at some of the statues and the scenery, went into a couple of shops. There was one shop where you could, have your photo taken with a cutout of Rambo and holding one of the knives. They had all of the different knives from each of the movies. And also they had a map that showed you like all the Rambo places of interest around the town. So we went into a nice little art gallery and just wandered around having a look at Hope. As I say, I highly recommend a visit to Hope. It was a really lovely little town surrounded by the mountains, very picturesque and, very interesting. I've never seen First Blood myself, but, it was still pretty cool. And I keep meaning now to watch it and at least see the bit where the scenes are. So if you've seen it, you'll probably recognise some of what I'm showing in the video. So after a little wander around and a little drive around the town and checking out some of the famous Rambo places, we then went back into the centre of the town again and had some lunch. So really nice little cafe I went to. I had the soup of the day, which is the chicken noodle, and my husband had the chili, which came with garlic bread, and we also had the biggest sandwich in the history of the world. So that was all pretty reasonable value, and really tasty. It was really good. It was a nice lunch. So then we went for a walk along the pathway that showed all of the statues. So there were some that were Rambo related, but a lot of them are just animals or whatever. So that was really interesting. So this park was really pretty. So we just wandered along here. I think if you were here in like the summer, that would be a lovely place to have a little picnic if you were just wanting to grab some food and sit outside. Particularly liked this bear one with the little bear in the middle. That was kind of weird but interesting. Then we went up to sort of the top of the town where there's a river, and we were looking for the Tourist Information Centre, which is just opposite here. But we got out here and went and had a look at the views, which were just stunning. The whole area is just stunning anyway, but it was really nice up here. So there's a few more statues. As I say, the town's just full of these statues. And then just across the road from here, so if you turn around and you're facing back towards the town, there is a little store. It's got native art written on it. This was just amazing. The woman that ran it was absolutely lovely. Lots of stories to tell, and was selling lots of jewelry and other things that you can buy, and they were quite reasonable priced. We got a lot of souvenirs for the girls back home, so that was really nice. So I highly recommend going in there, and it supports the local native community. So from there, off we went on our way to Vancouver. So I will put up a video of Vancouver, as I said earlier, so keep an eye out for that one. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. It costs you nothing to subscribe, but it means a lot to me. And you can check out my other videos from all my travels on this Trans-Pacific cruise and trip through Canada and Seattle, as well as other trips of mine, including China that I just got back from. Thanks, see you next time.